Well, I heard someone getting stabbed, and that feels like a good place to start this episode. Here's your headphones, by the way. Fuck.
Do I need to wear them?
Oh, you don't have to.
You'll just miss out on like the theme song and that kind of like segment,
I'd love to miss
segment
that.
things. You know?
Is there are there segment things like da 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 segment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Ish. I
But
don't
yeah,
want to
I think
undercut Douglas's work, but
Yes,
you know,
they're
quick.
higher quality
Yeah.
than anything else on the podcast.
Yes.
Sure, but you know what I mean. It's not like, hey, we're gonna cut to
You don't know. You don't need
yeah.
information.
Here's
Sure.
a rant from Tucker Carlson. We're all gonna talk
Yeah.
about. It's like
No.
The only thing is sometimes if people don't use the headphones when we play the theme song, they keep talking
I won't.
and they don't realize. We'll flag it for you.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We can figure this out.
Yeah.
No, please. It's all going in. My name is Gianmarco Soresi. I'm here with my co-host Russell Daniels.
Hi.
We're joined today, very special guest. I'm very happy to have you on here. Comedian Nathan Macintosh. How are you doing, Nathan?
It's the best time of my life, man. Thank you for having me. This is great. Yeah.
Good. I'm in a shitty mood.
Why?
I'm in a shitty. My girlfriend and I, Tova, we're trying to make our apartment a home, and we got a TV. We ordered one from Walmart. We hired the guy to install it onto the wall, and he turned it on, and he's like, "You guys come in here." Shattered screen. So we go, okay, we're gonna return this shit.
Wait,
we order another one.
Wait, when you got it out of the package, it looked fine?
Yeah, it had been. Yeah, it was fine. We hadn't plugged it in yet though. It wasn't him. I don't. It was
had
not
been
him.
what? You go, yeah, it had been, and then you cut yourself off.
We hadn't turned it on, but it
Yeah.
didn't look the glass. There wasn't glass falling off.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's internal. You know, it's underneath whatever big
Yeah.
sheet of glass they have in front.
Yeah.
So
What kind of TV?
Roku
Come on,
inside of it.
What's a Roku? Seriously, that's not a TV brand.
Are you saying an app that's inside the TV?
It's like
is
they
what
now
Roku
sell
is?
TVs
Yeah,
that
but
have the Roku inside of it. I don't know what
cares?
kind of TV it was. It was
Hey,
affordable.
it's a McDonald's TV. Big deal. we don't buy TVs from certain places.
How many inches we talking here? Okay.
What
This-
the fuck was that?
I was measuring in
Gianmarco,
8-inch increments.
in all seriousness, good God Christ, nobody's ever measured anything the way that you just did.
He
People
was
know.
trying to make a dick joke, I think.
So
He was
I
trying
go
to be
like, okay, this is 8 inches, so then another 8,
He was
and then I
trying to
flip it
a
in my
really
mind.
It's in
tacky
four.
dick
It's
joke.
4 dicks high, 70 dicks wide.
Sure. Yes. It's not big. It's this big.
Okay.
So
It's like a monitor.
yeah, it's a monitor.
Okay.
It's a small room. In that room, it's a movie theater.
Gotcha.
So we order.
Can I, real quick, so many questions here. So the guy says, come in here. He's not telling you to come in because the screen's shattered? Does he know the screen is shattered when he goes up to you and says...
Yeah, he says let's come here like, you know, your father is dead.
You're lucky he plugged it in, because if he's just his job to hang it, I wouldn't have even plugged it in.
But
I
I'm sure he
hung it.
knows, because I'm sure 1,000 times he hasn't, and then someone blames him. They say,
okay.
"Oh, this guy, he broke the
Got
TV."
it. Got it.
I bet as soon as he saw the box that said Roku, he's like, here we go.
Here we go.
There's going to be some problems with this. Roku. Come on, man.
So I'm gonna return it. That's the plan. It seems easy enough, you know. And in the meantime, we order stupidly another Roku TV.
Jesus Christ.
Same brand.
You deserve everything you have in your life, because that's serious to God insanity. Why would you do this?
And I say to Tova, when it gets to your office, because that's where we ship it to, I say, when it gets there, open it.
I like that
plug
you
it
don't
in.
want Walmart to know where you live. For some reason, Walmart is not allowed to have your address. It's got to go to a different location.
So she does not do that. I come home. There's the box. She takes a cab home so she can have the box fully intact. I go, uh-oh. I take it out. I put it on the sofa.
I don't care anymore.
I plug it
it's
in.
Roku. The whole thing.
What do you know? It's broken in
Gianmarco.
the exact same way. Like the exact same
Are you
fractures.
sure that's just not how it comes?
Yeah.
Like that's what you get.
It's,
Yeah.
it's an
how much did
avant-garde
you-
television.
How much did you pay for this TV?
I think,
180.
around that, 180, 229.
Come on! I
No.
used to work in in a home theater department of a place.
Really?
Yeah, and the prices of TVs. TVs are kind of like bags of chips now. You can just walk in and grab them.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
cares. There's no keys. There's no anything.
They're not.
Yeah.
It wasn't that expensive. I expected like a TV to like set us back. 600.
Dude, that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not even a TV guy. This is for Tova.
You're not a TV guy. You bought a Roku twice. A Roku,
Goes without saying.
Like, my God, that is a remote that plays movies. It's not a TV.
Well, you have a nice TV?
What do I got? LG, I think. Is that it? I got it a long time ago. LG something. But yeah, it's a nice TV. It's about 5 dicks wide.
Uh-huh.
4 dicks high.
That's nice.
48 inches, okay?
Sure.
It's on a little stand. I got a sound bar for it. It's great. I love this
You
thing.
got a big TV now.
Big TV now. Yeah.
I grew up
Working great.
I grew up, the TV was always on, and I wasn't reading. In my mind, I was like, if I have a TV in the house, I didn't have one for like a decade. If I had a TV in the house, my life will waste away.
But you watch things all the time, so you just do it on a laptop?
I just watch it specifically. I've specific
On a laptop.
My mom's got CNN kind of on, MSNBC kind
Well,
of
you
on.
don't have
Her
to
brain's
put
being
on
poisoned kind of.
news. You can, I mean, you have, there's a remote. You can turn it off. Like,
You talk about some of the shit
Not
you
a
watch.
Roku. You cannot turn a Roku off or on. A Roku's only broken. This is the one setting it has.
I think I looked back at my life when I like hit college, and I was like, I regretted all the TV that
Okay,
I watched.
okay.
In the same way that I quit video games before college, because I looked back and I was like, what did I do?
Really?
What did I do?
What was the last video game that you went through?
Oh, I mean, I haven't forever. The last one was like Metal Gear
Roku
Solid.
presents Grand Theft Auto.
We're on a TV show on Roku TV. That's where our game show ended up from
That's so
Quibi.
true.
We were on a
Yeah.
Quibi game show that
Game
ended up
show,
on Roku.
go together
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
What's the last video game you played?
I was a big Metal Gear Solid fan.
Oh, yeah, of course you
and
were.
I liked the narrative of it.
It was great.
And I like that's the one where I played. And I like tried to get all the things.
Yeah,
and
dude. I did it too. And you're going to tell me you look back on that as a bad time? Killing Psycho Mantis by putting the controller in the second port? Are you kidding me?
okay, it was cool. It
It
was cool.
fucking amazing.
But here's the thing.
What else would you have done?
But unless you stay in that world, I have no one to share it with.
you do me,
Right now, sure.
Anybody that's lived,
But they're
in
continuing
this
to play
time.
the games, and once you stop playing
No,
the
some of
games,
them
you're
are
out of the world.
Now, some of them are and some of them are not. These older things are great. These older games are great. I don't even know if people playing games now, they're like, oh, I get to play with my friends. You know, I'm beating off online, paying $14 for a fucking shield.
Sure.
These things, though, Metal Gear, this is a different world.
I don't disagree. In my mind, I've always thought, oh, when I retire, that's what it'll be. Instead of reading books and watching cinema,
When you
I'll
retire,
go back
you're
and
gonna be
play
like,
video games.
you're gonna be like, oh, all the time I wasted emailing comedy club bookers. Like, you're gonna
100%.
find another thing of like what you regret.
That'll
You
be,
know?
and that is emailing people for shows is
Yes.
much more strenuous a thought to think than I played Metal Gear Solid, which kicked ass. Revolver Ocelot. What are we even talking about? That game is incredible.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But I subletted once in Astoria, and there was like a guy, and I felt like I watched a video game addiction. It was like an actor in playing video games. I never saw him not playing video games, and I remember it shaking me.
But
And there were some men.
But if you're not addicted,
thank you. I mean, it's just, I just saw a guy in the street, right? He had 2 canes. He's violently vibrating. Now, I could look at him and go, shit, man, that could be me. But no, that's him. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not going to rush
not at
out and
all.
get 2 canes and shake. Coming down off a Percocet. That's not me. That's him.
Sure, but even if you're not addicted, let's say, okay,
Here's
so
your
let's say
addiction, you fucking psycho. Looking at other people and thinking that it's going to be you. This is the real addiction.
No.
Yes, yes.
No. Okay, let's say you're able to use cocaine. Let's say you're able to use cocaine in a reasonable manner. You still might not want to have a kitchen, a plate of cocaine just laying about, because maybe one day
Yes,
you'll
do.
go, wait a second. I think I'm addicted to this
No,
now.
you're not. This is what you're addicted to.
I'm addicted to laziness.
no,
I was
you're
a lazy.
not.
I was a lazy
You're
kid.
not lazy
I was
now,
a lazy
though.
kid. I know, but it's there. It's whispering.
Here's
Gianmarco, just put on Halo. Just put on
That's
Metal
not
Gear.
lazy. Metal Gear's not lazy. These are pieces of art that were created Today, video games, I can argue with you, yes,
You're
bad.
you're not saying that video games are not also designed with the intention of hooking you hooking the dopamine system. You go to an art museum. I don't think whoever painted the Mona Lisa was like, how do I paint this in a way that they gotta see this again tomorrow, or they get a little reward for the 10th time they see the Mona Lisa.
I do think video games today are much more like that. I do. The older ones, yes, to a degree. Obviously, they wanted us to play them, but they also made full-on fucking pieces of art.
I agree.
But I also don't see you as having an addictive personality. Like I don't see it doesn't come up in anywhere else in your life that you're always watching TV. You're not on drugs. You're not drinking. You're not even having weed all the time.
So do you have an addictive personality?
No, thankfully, because I drank really young as a kid, like from like 13 to fucking 18. I had an ulcer and a whole bunch of shit. I had to take these big pills. But thankfully, I can have a drink every once in a while and I'm not fucked. Because there's some people, I have friends that are like, if they have a drink, they're blowing a guy under the fucking bridge for whatever, you know? But no, I know nothing. I'm a man in a pink jacket sitting in this place for the first time. I thank you.
You have good fashion.
It's a women's jacket from a grocery store in Truro, Nova Scotia, but I thank you.
Get out of here. From a grocery store?
Yeah, in Canada, there's a place called, where I'm from, Canada, Nova Scotia, there's an Atlantic Superstore, and they also have a section in it that sells clothes. Couldn't tell you why. They're trying to be like a Walmart. Anyways, I saw this jacket, and I was like, I'm buying this fucking jacket. I don't care. But
do they sell TVs? Because I'm in the market for a different place to get my TV from.
They might have. Do they have TV? Here's what I was going to say to you. I feel, and I don't know anything, I feel that you're addicted to finding problems that aren't there. Because I feel...
I'm Jewish.
I feel that you grew up in a place, and I don't know anything. I feel you grew up in a place where there were not a lot of problems. So the problem was, where are the problems? I need to be fucked up. How am I fucked up? But you're not fucked up.
I gotta push back.
Of course you do.
Listen,
imagine you just stop the podcast right there.
All right.
And we're done.
Let's play the goddamn music. This is The Downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.
This is The Downside. Thank you for tuning in. If you're a fan of The Downside, join the Patreon. Patreon.com/downside. You get ad-free episodes, bonus episodes, all our live episodes, video and audio. And I did want to bring up one thing. We did a live episode, and we've had this problem before. We had the guest said the R word.
Uh-huh.
And two people...
Roku?
Roku.
They should be interchangeable, given. And my policy is, I think this is my policy, especially because I don't like to edit. I'm not going to tell a grown adult, don't say the R word. That's not my role. That's not my job. I don't give a fuck. Go say it.
Yeah.
If someone's going to do hate speech, I'm not going to platform a long hate speech rant.
Yeah.
But if someone's going to use that word, whatever.
Right.
I have a bit that uses it, and I know I should get rid of it.
Yeah, I have a sketch. Yeah.
But that's my point, is two people were like, hey, she said this. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm a fucking 34-year-old man. I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah.
People say the word.
Yeah.
So that's
should
my
they
position.
also be messaging her?
You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, you said the word. When you talked about coming up in the adult entertainment industry, and you talked about, fucking the abuses and the snuff film scenes you did, you said the R word.
Well, you can only do one snuff scene. Film scene. Fuck! You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who was it, by the way?
Aaliyah Janine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the snuff stuff was, it was like some guys get off on, it looks like the person's been killed, and they get off on the pee, the pee comes out.
Once you're dead.
And it's like, it's so much
Shit.
to go through for a
God,
tiny
that's
little moment.
Fucking dark.
Yeah.
How do you find out where you see it and you're like, oh fuck, I'm so hard right now.
Yeah.
This is where you looked at that guy and are like, I'll become a video game psycho. This is literally like you start porn and it's like, oh, a woman blowing a guy or whatever. And you're like, cool. And then you keep watching. And then now you're addicted. And now it's this type of thing. I don't know that you just wake up and go, oh, I think you melt your fucking head
I don't know.
into that situation.
I always remember.
Well, or they type in. What do you type in for that sort of thing? You know?
I don't know, Russell
Jeff
Daniels
P.
search history. No, but I always remember when I was in Germany, I was in Hamburg, and there was a porn section there. This is where I'm saying, like, I watch porn, but there's certain things that if you see it, something in me viscerally, they had a whole wall in Hamburg of bestiality. Mm-hmm. And I'm like a 21-year-old, and I'm curious. I'm like, what is this? And I see some of the covers, and I feel like I'm going to throw up in the store. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God I didn't go there and go, oh, shit. Sheep, I guess. That's my thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people gradually go there. I think some people fucking like
Maybe,
some
but that one
crazy
seems
shit.
to be pretty fucking. Also, don't you remember? We're close to the same age. Don't you remember what the internet was?
Of
It was,
course.
I've seen.
I talk about Mr.
so
Hands all the
many
time.
Women blow so many horses in 2001.
Can I say something?
You'd walk into a friend's house and they'd be like, "Look at this," and it's a woman violently blowing a Shetland, and you just go, "What is this?"
I'd rather see this
You'll
is,
never see that again. By the way, you'd have to like hunt to find that video. Whereas 2001, it was just around.
it was on
It's out
E-Bombs World.
Yeah,
it wasn't
it's
even on a porn
crazy.
site.
No,
it was on
just
a
like
comedy
normal,
site.
or like it was on like a blooper, or like kind of like this person falling down and the camera caught it kind of thing. Yeah, And then horse blowing.
Horse blowing. Have we seen horse blow? Am I crazy?
No,
I've
we've all
seen
seen
Mr.
horse
Hands.
blowing.
I have not
Thank you.
seen the
It's
horse
just-
blowing.
I haven't
I've seen horse
talked or
fucking.
thought about it.
Yes.
in 20 years, but yes, we've
Me
all seen
neither
it.
until
The blowing is the thing that I saw in Germany specifically. It was a dog and it was a blowjob.
Yeah.
And something about a blowjob to me is like it's more upsetting than fucking, because it's a blowjob is like that's a human to human interaction of like, you know, one person's pleasuring just the other and doing it for them. So something about the blowjob is like it's worse than the fucking for me. If you were to tell me you got to get fucked by a horse, I don't want to I'd die. But I don't want to see anyone.
There's a
blowing
documentary about that.
It's the zoo, Mr. Hands. I have a whole Mr. Hands chunk.
His name's Mr. Hands.
Mr. Hands was the name of the video.
Oh,
Like,
I didn't know that.
When you were around kids, you'd be like, "You see Mr. Hands?"
I didn't know that. I just remember the documentary Zoo. But the guy that was
Yeah.
impaled on a horse.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
No, it
Anyways,
didn't go through his mouth. That would be impaled.
no, it
technically.
went complete
Get
other way.
impaled other ways.
Yeah.
No, I think impaled is it goes in and it goes out.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
But the real impaling, Vlad the Impaler, would put people down, nail a fucking big stick, pole, whatever, through somebody's ass all the way through their mouth while they're alive, and then hang them, like stack them. They were impaled. It's hell. The worst video I've ever seen, and then we'll move on for God's sake, I think. The worst video I ever saw at that time, because we all had a friend that was like, you have to see this disgusting thing. They always tried to find the most disgusting things.
yeah.
The worst thing I've ever seen, and just because it's so haunting, there's a woman like strapped to a board, and there's a guy wearing like Dr. Doom costume, and he's taking muddy frogs out of a bucket and putting them into this woman.
Oh my god!
And again, I don't think it's even possible to see that ever again in life. But also, I go, I can't. Like, how? Why? What the fuck did I see?
Yeah.
You know what's amazing about this podcast is some people are like, oh, they had the New York art critic Jerry Saltz on the show. I'd love to listen to this. And then they're like, I like this podcast. And then the next day it's frogs. Can I say I went to
I didn't make the, but you made it, you made it sound like I made that video, and I'm the frog guy. I did not make
frog guy.
You're the frog guy. You guys remember that video?
You know.
I'm not the frog guy.
So I saw have you ever heard of The Box? It's like it's burlesque, but it's the show starts.
Oh yes, yeah,
the
I've
show
been there.
starts at 1.
No, I've been there. Yeah.
So I saw it once. I don't think I've talked about it on here. I saw it once. I was doing like a play that they were doing like earlier in the night, like a cool, funky, interactive play called Clown Bar. It was cool.
Okay.
It was
Thank
cool.
you.
It's at The Box. In terms of theater, it was pretty cool.
But Russell, thank you. That was great. It was a cool hip.
Yeah, tell us the synopsis of Titanic later, the show you're in.
It was
Okay, the hit off-Broadway show? Okay, I will.
With the subtitle, a gay musical parody. Yeah, let's hear all about how cool it is. Okay. So we got free tickets to see the show. And the show's intense.
Yeah.
And there was a I don't want to misgender them because I'm not sure. But this person, their bit was they came out, they greased up their hand or whatever, and their bit was they were gonna fist themselves in the asshole. And I will never forget it because
That guy's doing my bit.
because first they did it once, didn't quite go in all the way. So they kind of, they shook it off, did a stretch, tried again.
Fully nude doing this?
I mean, at least from the waist down. They might have had a shirt type thing.
I have another
a
question.
Cloak.
What is the angle facing the audience? Are we getting full on ass or are we from the side?
Standing, so you could see
question.
you could see it standing. You're seeing their profile.
Excuse me, Usher. Is my seat? Am I going to be looking directly into the asshole? Is there like an obstruction? Because I want to see it.
So he shakes it off. They shake it off. Tries it again. Doesn't take.
Is this part of? Do you sense as an audience member that this is part of the routine?
Now,
that it doesn't fit
as a
Or
performer.
is it,
I can tell something's wrong. I don't know if the average Joe Schmo isn't just amazed at what they're witnessing live in person. So then they go again, and this time they're trying to
sweating.
corkscrew it. They're sweating. And it doesn't go. It doesn't go. Because you thought, maybe this is a lie. Like, can I do it? No. Can I do it? Aha! And we all applaud.
they just apologize, cry? Like what? happened?
Well, there's music blaring, but you're seeing the stress.
I just think like this guy looks at his head. He goes, "God damn it! I brought my Roku fist." This one never works.
He's like bloated that day.
And it was very sad to witness.
Yeah.
Because there's no playing off like that wasn't the goal.
Yeah.
There's no way to subtly I'm just seeing how much I can get in. It was clear the goal was
to get all in there.
I'm going to do a walk. I'm going to do a little waddle with it fully in there. Maybe I'll slip in the second one as a little tag. And I just remembered how bad I felt for that performer. Like the same way if an opera singer cracked on a high note or a final joke
not the same.
bombed.
It's not quite the same.
Why not?
It's much. I mean,
It's much more challenging. Anyone can hold a high C.
yeah.
It's not even kind of the same.
Tell me, is it art? I think it's art.
Not being able to jam. If your thing is you jam your fist into your ass, and you can't do that.
When
It's
you
the equivalent
phrase it
if
like
an
that.
opera singer walked on stage and couldn't sing at all.
Yes.
Like couldn't make a note.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
No,
equivalent.
but they got an impressive amount in. I wasn't the whole time going like I could do that.
I think you either get that full thing in or that's not an act.
How much of your hand? I mean,
It's
they
not his
got it.
bit.
I'm not
It's
doing it.
It's
I'm not
his
claiming
bit,
that I
man.
can do that.
But I'm saying I can kind of sing some of the opera song.
But you're
I'm
not.
saying I couldn't.
Yeah, but
get,
you're not. What are we doing here?
God,
This is a different
I don't
thing.
even the equivalence is it's all over
This
the place.
go in your hand. Hold up your hand. How much of that do you think you could get in your ass? Show me.
Honestly,
Yes, honestly. If
Like,
you had an audience and it really
percentage-wise.
mattered, and some agents were in the crowd.
I think I could. No, I don't know. Like 20%.
Like I could get these fingers in, but I'm talking can you get to here?
no,
Can you
I
get
can't
past
do that.
the knuckles?
No. Not past knuckles. No.
I saw a much better show there. It was two people fucking. That was a good time.
Oh, wow.
And then
You actually like that? It was like
I mean, that's what the show. I was at a party thing, and that's what was happening. I didn't know what was going on in there. They'd be like, "Come to this party. It's at the box." I'm like, "Okay, cool." You go in there, you go, "Shit, all right." I didn't know that this is what this is. But no, two people are fucking, and you're like, "It's not." No, I'm not like super into it. But you go, "That's better than this guy." And then a woman came out and squirted at the crowd.
Wow.
And I was in the back, and I was like, "This is a party." And I did think, though, if I was in the front, I don't know that I think this would be a party.
Yeah.
To just have random woman juice
Yeah.
on me, especially when I had no idea that this is what this building was.
Yeah.
Would you be chill about it, or would you go like,
I don't know.
Can I please?
I would probably just leave.
Really,
if I'm
you'd
being
leave?
serious. Yes, I'm now covered in a woman's cum. I didn't know. I was invited to a party. I'm now covered in some strange lady's cum. Now even that sentence sounds pretty cool, but I had nothing to do with it.
Arguably, her piss.
Arguably or piss. I mean, this
piss, yeah.
German, everything's piss. It's all piss.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. But anyways, that show seemed better than this one. This one seemed like a failure.
Well, another person, a woman. Have I talked about the whole box? She made a martini inside of herself
Oh, yeah.
and then served it to an audience.
Shook
member.
it?
Here's, with her body.
Was she upside down putting things into her?
Let me see if I remember.
question.
What you can put in a woman's body is truly, it's a lot.
It seems like alcohol. That would be like that could hurt.
Also, an asshole. What the physical capabilities of an asshole?
People take drugs. I mean, huge amounts.
It's
of drugs.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Just well.
How'd we get here?
Well,
Yeah, how
you
did
were
we
talking
get
about the
here?
video that you made with the frogs. How many frogs did they get in her?
I saw 3, and I was like, I can't see this
He's
anymore.
like, you didn't forward to the end of the video.
It's
Was there
really-
a counter on the screen?
I don't think you could forward at that time. Everything was so slow and
Yeah,
choppy. There was
yeah.
no moving at all. You're lucky it played at all. But no, man, my friend, him and his cousin used to just send these disgusting videos back and forth, and that was one of them. And haunting. Both of those people are dead. All those frogs are gone. There's just no way.
Oh, those people, not the cousin.
The video people. How do you? Yeah,
I
how
thought
do
you
you?
meant the cousins thing.
No. But the video people. How do you survive?
No,
that's your
true.
life.
They're dead.
I was really upset at there was a comedian. I'll share it off where they said, hey, look at this, and they put out a video, and it was like a violent thing. It was like a video of like, and I don't know if it was honestly because I tried to look away very fast, but it was essentially like it could have been a movie because it looked too perfect, but it was like something going wrong at a concert somewhere in Asia, and a big jumbo screen fell, and everyone's trying to run off the stage, and it fell on this guy's head. And when I think about it, as I think about it every night before I go to sleep now, I go like, no, the camera angle was like perfect on it. It hit exactly where his head was. It was a film, but it was like they said, hey, look at this. And it's like a joke thing. And it was one of the first times in my life that I almost felt a degree of like, not the word assault, but like you should not have done that. That was fucked up what you did.
Which part?
The part where they were like, hey, look at this cool thing. And then it was like a horrifying.
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
That's what
it
a
made
lot.
me very mad.
That's what a lot is. People just send videos around of people fighting.
What
Shoot,
happens on
like-
Twitter now? Sometimes something comes up and
Yeah.
you're like, there's something, a
It's
guy
having-
falls in an elevator shaft. I'm like, fuck, did I just watch someone die
Yeah.
at 9 in the morning? I don't need that.
I unfollow everybody. This has gone right up to like comedy clubs. Anybody that posts fight videos, I'm out.
Yeah.
Mute, unfollow. I find it disgraceful human behavior.
Yeah.
To even record that to somebody. I was in I talked about this the other day, but I was in a Dwayne Reed in Astoria on Steinway.
Yeah. Oh, I know that Dwayne
You know
Reed.
that Dwayne
Yeah,
Reed.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm waiting in line. I got whatever, and some lady freaks the fuck out. She's trying to return something. She starts throwing chocolate bars at the cashier.
God. Oh
my
The
God.
cashier starts throwing them back. I just walked out. I was like, I
no.
want zero parts of this. And I'm sure somebody started recording it. It was like, yo, dude, I'm at the scene of. Let them. This is crazy. Don't air this.
Yeah. No.
This is hell.
That's kind of funny though. They're throwing chocolate. As long as no one's hurt, no one's gonna get hurt
Where
from
do
a
you
chocolate
think
bar.
throwing chocolate bars escalates to? Do you think it stops there?
Yeah.
It does. It starts there. It's the same thing as like, oh, these two people swearing at each other, and now they've gotten out of their cars. Well, this is kind of funny. I wonder what's gonna happen. Oh God! Now they're violently assaulted. Do you know what I mean? Like these things escalate.
No, I thought maybe it escalate like the chocolate, like it breaks open, some chocolate gets in their mouth, they're like, and it becomes a food fight, a fun food fight. And everyone goes, let's just eat all the candy here, quit
You
our
were
jobs.
going to earlier refute my thing of saying that you didn't have any problems and I'm looking for problems. And again, this sentence here.
Well, let's talk, because, you had your recent special or whatever you want to call it. What do you
Yeah.
like calling it?
I'm for online purposes, so it's easier for people to see what it is and can be found. I'm calling it a comedy special. It's called Money Never Wakes, 40 on Finance, jokes about billionaires, credit scores, how we should have been taught about money in school, how I grew up without money. It's all finance related.
And what it was great. But I also think it's interesting talking about no problems to a degree, or maybe emotional problems, but not physical problems. am absolutely someone who came from money. My parents had money. I did not grow up with any student loans. I
talk about student loans.
You talk about student loans. You talk about. I think it's very interesting because I've been thinking of it in the way, like Larry David is someone who has money, but he's you could call him cheap, or one might say like he is passionate about like the fairness and the rules of exchanges. And so, if he paid for dinner, he wants you to pay for dinner. Nice, because that's just how it works. And I have that, whatever that is. And I like to complain about money, but it's that mix where
Sorry, go ahead.
you talk about like people who say that they're broke, but one phone call and they could take care of their rent. And I was absolutely that person.
You have no problems.
And well, sure.
Money-wise. But what's your problem?
Money-wise.
What do you complain about money? What's your problem with money?
Oh, I just am one of those, if I feel, ripped off, or I feel like,
I got you.
The fucking Roku. It's like, what the fuck? I want a full refund, and we paid for an Uber to get from the office to the thing.
The second Roku, though, you get nothing. It's Willy Wonka at the end of at the movie. You get nothing, sir. You bought a Roku twice.
Well, look, if I didn't have a girlfriend, I go, okay, I'm not having a TV then. I tried.
Quit?
I tried.
You quit? You
I
just
tried.
lose the $180?
I tried getting a TV. Didn't work
Even
out.
broke people don't get Roku.
Yeah.
They don't. They'd be like, I'll spend the extra money to get a name brand I've heard of.
But there definitely is like, especially with comedians, and when I started, you're broke in the sense that like, you wish you had more money, or you're living frugally. You could call your parents, but you're not going to. You live in an illusion of like brokenness, or an illusion of I'm running out of money. But the threat of homelessness is not there. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's interesting where I feel like there's some people who, what would you call it, poverty face, or some comedians who pretend that they're they have that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
And
I'm so broke, guys. I don't know. Rich. Grew up rich, always had money.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Rich comedians, I almost, well, first of all, there's a lot of them that are great and have gone on to do good things. But every once in a while, I almost want to tweet like, money should be out of comedy. People who grew up with money shouldn't be allowed to do comedy. Now, this is like, I don't really feel this, but there should be two camps, two worlds. Two different sects of life, because comedy at the beginning is broke. Now, you might not necessarily be broke. You might be coming in with some money, but it's a broken, fucking, twisted world of shit.
yes.
The richies are now coming into a world that the poories have already known, but are now doing in comedy. Does that make any sense?
Of course.
So now the richies are like, oh, it's rough down here. It's like, yeah, man, we started here. And still live here. This is hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't really think that rich people shouldn't be allowed to do comedy, but every once in a while, because mostly when you hear exactly what you're saying, the people who have money complaining about how they don't, that's when you go,
Yeah.
I can't listen to this. This is craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you grow up without money.
Yeah. And by the way, real quick, I'm not against people that grow up with money by any stretch.
Well, I think that's there's like the twofold. There's the rich people who
There's,
are like
there's
are
an
not
honesty. If you're like honest about it and
Yeah.
you're not hiding who you were,
Yeah.
or that,
And that's
there
what I'm
is-
trying to
it's
make
the
sure of.
disingenuousness of people pretending to all of a sudden we're all poor comedians, and you're like, you're not
Yes.
though. It's fine.
That's
and that's
the-
what I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's like I want to be genuine in the sense of like that's not where my problems might come from myself, but they don't come from this sector. But I think there's like twofold. There's some rich people who like they don't want to acknowledge privilege. I think there's a degree of like, what does it mean to acknowledge privilege? And then you have other people who are like, if you're rich, fuck you. Yeah. You don't deserve anything you got. Any accomplishment you made, go fuck yourself. And obviously when you have these two camps, everyone's just getting more fully entrenched in their own.
Yeah.
Which is why I liked your album, because like you defend both sides of things. You had a bit where you defend like the landlord.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's very easy there's a big thing of kill all landlords.
Kill them.
Kill all of them.
I know.
I like imagining when I see people saying that thing. I like imagining King, okay, let's do it, and bringing them to the landlord, to my landlord, and being like, kill him.
Yeah.
And like watching them do that.
Give them a sword.
Be like,
and have a
kill
judge.
him.
Have like a judge go like, you know what? We've decided. This
you
one's
can
a
kill
pass.
him.
Yeah, it's like the end of Dark Knight where the guy's like, "Oh, I'll blow up the boat," and then he's just looking at the key like, "Oh, I can't kill those people."
Yeah.
My stepdad was talking about, you know, he has daughters, and something about like if this I told her boyfriend, or I told the guy who's gonna fuck him, like, don't break my daughter's heart, or you'll be in, you know, some kind of vague death threat. And I'm like, oh really?
You're
My
gonna kill-
69-year-old lawyer stepfather is going to destroy his life.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a gun. He's gonna go buy a gun. He's gonna murder this child for breaking his daughter's heart and go to jail. It's crazy because I think he thinks it has teeth. And I'm like, you again, he has money. He's not throwing this wonderful life away. He's got things to lose.
Yeah.
So you grew up without money.
Yeah, and again, real quick, I apologize. I say in the thing too that like I'm definitely not against rich people, blah blah blah. Not all of them. Some of them, yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Some of them, yes. But then also some other people, whatever. But people that were born into money, I used to have problems with. But I don't now. It is what it is. How, you can't choose where you're born. How you function in the world you can choose, and that's the garbage part. But yeah, man, I didn't have a dad. My mom drank. I think it would be fair. I think it's fair to be annoyed at rich people at a increasing scale based on how much money they have, because the money, the fact that money can be, if money was not, if you couldn't put it in a bank. And it's just a number on a spreadsheet. If you had to walk around with your money and you saw someone passing all the homeless people they do with as much money as they had on their person, I think viscerally, emotionally, we go, you're not going to throw a little to this guy? And there's a degree where I'm like, if Elon Musk had to walk around and everywhere he went, he had to have trucks following him and they're filled with the money. I think human beings, as dumb as we are collectively, would be able to go like, that's way too much money that guy has. Yeah, well, he also already kind of does do that. He doesn't actually now, but we know how much money the guy has.
Sure, but
which is crazy.
We should have shame. There should be more shame. I think it's fine to shame people who have money, and the more money they have, the more shame they should feel.
You're one of those people.
Sure, and I do agree there should be an amount of shame, and I should be shamed into a feeling of tipping more and giving more away. I think it's fine to hate rich people.
I think
it's fine to resent me.
I don't.
Why?
Because it's a case by case basis. But if you grew up with money and your parents, I don't know, what lawyers, whatever the hell they were,
lawyers, chemical cleanup, various things.
A lot of this stuff is like you're born into certain situations. So your dad born, I'm assuming, in some sort of environment where being a lawyer was a thing that was even able to happen. You know what I mean? So I resent that. I mean, it's everybody who doesn't have money is trying to get money. So you can't necessarily be angry at all of it, but some of it, like some of these people who the people that just like cut employees' benefits, take away their you know what I mean?
Of course, but I think, for example, the $1 billion is an arbitrary it's an arbitrary number to a degree, but I feel like billionaires should be resented. Resented because they did that. No matter what, there's no way you can have that much money.
Yeah,
and you don't have the oversight, even if you are a good person, that people aren't getting exploited down the chain.
Sure. Oh yeah, no. To get to $1 billion is like, it probably should be illegal. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I talk about this in the thing. Anybody that even wants to get that is a psychopath.
That's a president. Like, if you want to be president, you're kind of a psychopath.
Yeah, you're kind of a fucking nut.
Yeah.
I will say, though, real quick, just as a thing of like, and not talking about homeless people, this is a different thing, but like, just giving poor people money sometimes is not the fucking answer. I've grown up a lot of goddamn people, dude. You give them $1,000, the next day they need $2,000.
Sure.
It's already gone, and they're in debt. It's also like,
just, I was talking like a couple dollars. I know.
I'm literally just talking. That's why I said I'm not talking about homeless people. I'm just talking about people in general. Like, it's more of a money fucking mentality or whatever, certain how to hang on to money and that sort of deal. Because I'm telling you, if you, dude, I know people, man, that are just fucked. And if you go, they're like, I'm broke, I need 10 grand, blah, blah, blah. And you go, I'm gonna help them. I'm in the position to give them 10 grand.
Yeah.
A week later, not everybody, but certain people, a week later, they're like, I'm fucked again, man. Dude, now I need 15. You go, what the fuck happened to the 10? And that goes more beyond poor, because there's also rich people that fucking blow money. That's like a mental goddamn thing.
I mean, but I know some comedians, and they started to succeed, and they would still do like a vague on Twitter, like, hey guys, I need some money, please Venmo me. And I knew, like, based on knowing what people get paid for specific things, I was like, you're making you're spending this in some stupid way, because they were doing enough road stuff and TV stuff that I'm like, there's money coming in.
They also might not be spending it. They might also just think like, there's some people too that are like, I'm great and I should never have to pay for anything.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So they could be living that world of like, what? How dare you ask me to pay for this chicken sandwich? But I'm great.
Yeah.
I strung words together.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fucko. It's crazy.
I think we've talked about this before, but yeah, sometimes being like any mild inconvenience too is an excuse to then be like, hey, I had this sad thing happen to me today. Here's my Venmo. And you're like, that is crazy to me, because sad things happen all the time. And that's just something that happens. Like, the equating like this, a bad thing happened, so I need someone like make it right by is crazy. Like that's it's
disgusting.
Yeah.
And somehow it's the same mentality as a billionaire. It's just as ugly.
Yeah.
Guys, my day's bad. Give me money.
Yeah.
Who are you? And who gives it? Who's the psycho that sits there and is like, I'm going to Venmo? It's either got to be a hot woman and this guy thinks he can, or some famous person that they're like, now I have some sort of connection.
I'm not talking about people who are like dealing with medical crisis that like.
No.
I'm literally talking about like someone said I was ugly today and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, so what?
It reminds me of, do you remember when, was it Spike Lee did an Indiegogo to like make a movie? That he like did an Indiegogo for $2 million, and it was like one of the first where like they were doing something like that. And some people, I think very rightfully, were like, "Why are you asking us for money?" It's just no matter how much money you have, your feelings about money don't necessarily change, or you have to really confront them. But the idea of like asking strangers to fund your movie when you are one of the most successful, it was just strange.
Sure. I wonder if some of that has to do with the fact that he was doing it on his own or wanted to do it on his own, and before that it's all studio money. I don't know how much. I've never made a movie. I don't know fucking
But
anything.
they take the risk. There's movie producers taking 3 credit cards out so they can make their passion piece. Don't ask them for the fucking money.
I get what you're saying. Did he ever make that movie?
I don't think so.
He got game too. He still got game.
He still got that game.
So you so your dad, was he ever part of the family, or did he leave?
No, I met him once when I was 5. I used to joke about it, but this is not sad. This I'll say it at a thing. The only time I ever met my dad. He's this big fucking. I was a tiny little kid. I was 5. He's a big red-haired guy, and I was like, this guy's somehow connected to me. And he goes, "Do you want to play 52 card pickup?" And I didn't know what that was. So I go, yes. My mom's like, no, there's cards all over the fucking place. I'm picking up cards. Then he goes, why did the orange stop in the middle of the road? Because it ran out of juice. Joke. And then he left. I never saw him again. That's the only interaction.
It was like on the way, he opened up and Googled like how to be a fun dad. Jokes. Yeah. Okay. I have some cards.
And it says, do exactly what you would do to bother people in a bar. But yeah, that's the only time.
Was it when you met him? Did it feel like, whoa, this is an intense moment, or was it just like?
I was 5. I just knew. Yeah. I just knew that somehow I was connected to this person. You know what I mean? I just felt that sort of deal, because up until then, as dumb as it sounds, I'd only seen like my brother, my grandmother having red hair. So then when I saw another guy, I was like. You know, it somehow made sense. It was just, this guy is clearly somehow connected to me. But no, it wasn't like, I didn't know what
there's not a lot of red-haired people in Nova Scotia?
There is, yeah, but I'm not. My mom's not. I'm 5. She would taking me up and down the fucking. If I'm going from Yarmouth to Sydney every day, there's one just pointing at
Just
people.
driving around trying to find redheads. Was there ever an attempt by him or you in the future to meet up again or no?
No.
Just kind of like boom.
Yeah. He called once when I was like 12. Was talking to me, and my mom was like, it's real sad. She's like, get off the phone, blah, blah, blah. And then I talked to her about it later, and she's like, yeah, sometimes he would call drunk and be like, she'd be like, hey, I want to come back, and then blah, blah, blah. But as far as like a real thing, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fine.
Of course, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, and it's also like it is. I don't know. Same thing as like being coming from money. It is what it is. I can't change it. There's parts of my life that are. I am who I am because of this. You know what I mean? There's parts that I'm like also. Fuck, man. A lot of this really sucked. But then at the end of the day, I'm a guy wearing a pink coat. I have a decently fun life. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
I don't.
Sure. But is there any like when you look back on your life as you've like figured out how to be happy and enjoy exist? Like, is there any pocket where you go, oh, not having a dad, I see the thing that I missed or the thing that I was looking for later? Like, when did you feel it at any point? Did you go like, oh fuck, I don't have a dad? That's. But like, was it like
Day.
Father's Day? Like,
Father's Day was a weird one. I'll tell you why. Because in school, remember, I don't know if they did it everywhere, but they would get us to write cards to our dads. You know what I'm talking about? So they were like, I had to say to somebody, I had to say to a teacher, I don't know my dad, and she goes, write a card to your grandfather. Also, the first time I ever heard somebody talk about their other set of grandparents.
Oh,
dude.
You're like, 2.
That blew my fucking mind. That didn't make any sense to me at all. But then they go, yeah, it's my dad. I go, oh. Also, I never really had a big connection with sports, and I think a lot of it had to do with like I didn't grow up watching sports with somebody. Anytime I talk to somebody that's really into it, it's usually like not all the time, but a lot of it, it's like, yeah, I grew up watching sports with my dad. He was into sports, blah blah blah. My mom's not watching sports. She's fucking watching the OJ trial, eating cigarettes.
Sure, but if you're not into sports, my dad, if my dad, if someone interviewed him about me, I think he'd say that I like football.
Right now,
like I always remember it was so humiliating. My dad's crazy, but I was interviewing for like a high school, like to go to like a private high school, and
see, this is the thing I know nothing about. Yeah. To go to a public school, you walk in, you sneeze on a vice principal, you sit in a classroom.
Yeah. And you know the servants had come in to give us the chai latte before the interview.
Is it on Epstein Island? Is that where the signatures take place? Come on down to St. James.
And my dad it was still like some stage where the parents are in the interview, and my dad was like, he's got a great memory. He knows all the football teams and all their stats. And I'm like, what the fuck?
That's really funny.
Is he talking about?
Yeah.
He's selling his kid.
He's like, he hates theater. He hates musical theater. He doesn't, he's
this is the part too that I didn't necessarily get to it too much in the thing, but rich people and poor people are much more alike than when they were like we did this. It was like they're doing a college scam. Of course they are. They have have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
It's not right, but they have the ability to do it.
But the most frustrating thing about that is that like everyone's doing it in other ways.
This is what I'm saying.
They bought the building.
The colleges
are
are doing
fucking
it.
mind?
Like
colleges are doing it.
Colleges
the
are
Ivy
doing
Leagues
it.
were run ethically.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
Yes.
And then people get all high and mighty. These bad parents. It's like fuck you.
No,
you
fuck
did the
these
same thing with your
colleges.
kindergarten. You fucked the head of the. Everyone's doing this shit.
Kindergarten.
But
I need to blow
You
a
fucked
guy
the head of the kindergarten.
so that my kid can take a nap from 2 to 3.
But the way that people were like, shame on you. I was like, you are talking about academia. You are out of your fucking mind.
When money is involved, things can become disgusting. So it doesn't make any sense that. Anyways, when I heard it, you just kind of go, "Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course they did. Of course they did. How the fuck wouldn't they? They have the money to do
It's insane
it."
to begin with that we've created an institution where if you're good at the row team, they go, well, then go to Harvard. What is Harvard? Is Harvard a row team? It's insane that these things have been conflated to begin with. So the fact that someone's exploiting this absurd conflation in this disgusting, I just hated that. I hated how people felt like they were better than that. And they judged. It's when they pick a couple people and they go, they're the bad ones. And I'm like, the whole system is bad. You just caught 2 people. Who gives a fuck? Your mom. Do you think because
Here she is. Yeah, the way you said it was like
Your
she was
mom.
gonna.
Yeah.
Come on out.
And your mom.
Do you think you're extremely close with your mom because you had one parent? Like, does she become so much?
Here's the thing. My mom was very young when she had me. Me and my mom are very cool now, but my mom's also like, my mom, she's very hard. She's very like cold. She's very. I was never. Nothing was ever hidden from me in a way. Like I knew what bills were very young. I knew what problems were. You know.
How old was she when she had you?
19.
Okay.
So she's like, I just knew there was problems, right away. There was no coddling. There's none of that. So as a kid, our thing was real fucking combative. But now, me and my mom are cool. I really, really, love and respect this fucking lady. But again, she's like, I'm a child raising a child. We're doing this the hard way.
Yeah.
And she kept it very. I remember one time, man, she's on the phone. I'm sitting there watching, I don't know, fucking Power Rangers, who knows? And she's on the phone screaming at somebody. She said, "What the fuck? The fuck? You said you'd..." Slams the phone down. Eating a cigarette again, by the way. Yeah. Slams it down. And she looks at me. She goes, "Nathan, never lend anybody money." And then walked out of the room.
Oh my God.
And I swear to God, though, since that day, I went, all right. I lent somebody money one time. Nobody really, not too many people are asking me either, but there's certain people who you can lend money to and who you cannot.
Yeah.
Straight up and down, flat. And I mean, that woman that she'd lent money to, no.
How much did you lend when you did?
Rent.
Oh, rent.
Yeah, like a friend, a friend of mine was like, "Hey man, I'm fucking," you know what I mean? It's like, cool, great, yeah, because I had the means to do it or whatever. But I also learned, as stupid as it sounds, I learned about credit cards from my mom because she was in fucking debt.
Yeah.
I've never had credit card debt for that reason. Anytime I buy anything on a credit card, I fucking put the money on it.
Yeah. Let me ask real quick. How much would you lend me?
Right now?
Yeah, but put a scenario where I'm like, I need it, where I'm broke. Let's say I realize the overhead I've spent on the podcast was way too high.
Yeah.
And I'm broke, and I say I need some money to get everything back in gear.
I would lend you $1,000 right now.
That's it.
That's
Really?
pretty. I mean,
go-
here's what we did. So how much money would you lend me? $1,000. That's it. That's the exact type of person that should get nothing. Not a dollar. Not a penny. Not a cent. Get fucked. $1,000. $1,000 is
as
out
much
of
as he needed.
Your father's a fucking lawyer, astronaut.
Listen.
This man literally said $1,000 to your eyes. That's not nothing
Listen.
in New York City.
And
No,
that
it's
was
not
nothing.
$1,000.
But I'm saying,
That was obviously a starting offer.
What if I'm $10,000 in debt?
I don't have $10,000 lying around to give you.
$1,000 is big money if you need money.
What am I going to go into my savings or my vacation fund?
What do you want him to do?
That's the question. Sure.
No,
it's easy to say, but you don't know how
You're
much he
the
has.
I don't give a fuck how much he has. It doesn't matter how much
He'll
he
take
has.
$1,000 Uber back from this if he's feeling tired.
What he's willing to lend you, though, you can't, as a person asking, complain about how much somebody's willing to give you. You can't do it.
I can go, I would dig deeper.
You know what we call those people? Pricks. Cocksuckers. Only a fucking psycho would say something like that. You only give me $1,000, so I give you 10. Okay, cool. Get the fuck out of my face.
I would until it hurt me. I would help you out. Okay. That's my point.
So you're a problem.
No,
you're
saying,
a problem.
No, you're saying it like this.
You didn't say you were at
Russell,
the bottom of a well, like homeless.
Hold on.
$1,000 as a starting point is big money.
I'm saying if
I would obviously
I'm
let
starving,
you stay in my house
here's
if you
the
didn't have a
comparison.
home.
Okay,
You know?
that feels more true.
Yeah, I'll give
How
you
long would you
$1,000
let me
you can
stay in your house?
No, can you imagine this though? Honest to God, this man asked for a favor, then he goes, "I would do a bigger favor." My favor would be so big.
Wait,
you're the loser here.
to the core of you.
So according to you,
This
as
is
long
that-
as you're giving, one should just go, oh, what a generous fellow you are. How about this comparison? If I said, if I needed a place to stay, if I was homeless, how long could I stay in your place? You said a day. And I said, a day? I'd let you stay for as long as you needed. You're saying that I'm crazy.
Yes, this is go back to the world of the rich, sir.
One day?
This is
Okay.
growing up with money. This is what it does to
How
people
so?
right here. Because if the man
You're always
is
want more.
willing, yes, if the man is willing to lend you $1,000, take it.
I would take it. Don't get me wrong.
but then complain about it.
the way-
yes.
By the way,
Oh my!
I
To his
did-
eyes.
if he was
By
rolling
the way,
in it.
I did have to. I let someone stay at my house on my couch for a while, and I
How
had
long?
I had to ask them to leave.
How long?
Because they weren't leaving. They said they needed 2 weeks, and I said, and it was someone I worked with that I was friendly with, but not friends with. So I said 2 weeks, great, fine, and then 2 weeks came and they still didn't have a job and they still blah blah blah, and then it was into week 3.
Oof.
And it got to the end of week 3 and I was like, hey,
What did you
I know
say?
it's tough for you right now, but it's a full house. I have other roommates. You're on our couch. We gotta, you have until the end of the week, and then you gotta find somewhere else. I'm sorry.
That's why you can sympathize with landlords.
What'd they say?
They said okay, fine, and they're doing well now. They have
Great.
an apartment. They're fine. They have a job.
And if they said to
but I
you,
don't
hey,
talk to them
Russell, you ever
anymore.
need a place, you can come to mine, but just for 2 days.
Okay.
But they
They
wouldn't.
said
Though.
2
You
weeks.
didn't lend him anything.
Yeah.
Do you see what? Do you see where the discrepancies lie here?
Yeah.
Also-
You could say I could have said anything, and you would have said you would have done more. Does that make sense?
Because my answer would have been whatever you need.
Because
Whatever
you
you
can
need,
call
buddy.
your dad.
Well, then,
You can call your fucking
I
dad.
would call my dad and say,
Jesus
my
Christ!
friend needs money, and
Exactly.
I back up my
He
dad
can
for
call
you.
nobody. It's coming out of his pocket.
Yeah.
He's giving you
Yes, he came from the
$1,000.
streets of uptown New York.
Okay, well, I came from 2 public school teachers. I'm not nothing. I have
Lives at
privilege.
385th Street. He's basically in Albany, for God's sake, and you want him to give you $45,000
Yeah.
today?
Yeah.
Good cocksucking Christ.
Oh my God. Okay, cut back on Central AC for you.
Can I real side note here, real quick? Because again, whatever. Just talking about my mom real quick. I apologize.
Please.
My mom also just sort of treated me like a little adult in a way. So she sent me to Sunday school when I was a kid. I think just because she was like, I have a kid. This is what you do. Whatever. Because my brother didn't go, but I did. Whatever. But she picks me up one day and she's like, do you want to go? Do you like going there? And I was like, no. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not a good time. I have a Nintendo. This kind of cuts into that. And she goes, okay, well, when you grow up, you can pick a religion. And as a kid, I just kind of went, sick. Yeah. But then you grow up and you go, man, that's really fucking cool for a parent to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
My
what I mean?
parents did the same thing. They were like, "Do you want to go?" And I said no, because again, staying home on Sunday is better than going to something. So then nothing happened, and you're like, "Oh, that's nice."
Yes.
I have no sort of thing with that. It's like I don't know. It's a nice thing to let your kid pick.
And so then you stopped after that. You just stopped going?
The last time I went to a church for a church reason, other than like a wedding, I'm not kidding. When we were kids, me and my friend wanted to go see the movie Anaconda. You had to be 14. We were like 12, 13, I don't even remember.
Is that Canadian ratings? PG-14?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because we're
weird.
PG-13 here. I've just never heard 14 as an age.
I think maybe it was 13 then. I think it was 14. No, I think it was 14.
In Canada,
I think it
wow.
was 14.
Maybe Canada's
Weird.
different.
Wow. Wow.
We did ban the KFC Double Down for a while too. They were just like, you can't unleash this on the public. But anyway, so we were like, fuck, we want to go see this movie, but we can't. So my friend was talking to his mom, and she was really religious, and she goes, I'll take you guys to see Anaconda if you come to church with me. So the last time I was in a church was to the only reason I went was to see John Voight be eaten by a snake.
There's
The
something
church was-
really funny about religion like if you relied on just letting kids pick, there would be no religion because all kids would be like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like it would just be if it relied on
Unless you
kids having to
exchanged it for
genuinely be
this.
into it. Yeah.
If you could, I mean, if the church really wanted to revamp, you go like you
Movie
go up to,
tickets.
You go up to 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
We'll buy you beer.
I'll go to a movie
you come
today
for a confession.
for movie tickets.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'll go to a church
church
today
today
for movie
for
tickets
movie.
easily.
Yeah.
$18 tickets
Yeah.
to
Can
go
you
listen to whatever, Amen, Hammer Time, whatever the fuck they're
if
saying.
Movie Pass came back and they were like, we have fixed the problem. We have now
Lutherans.
collaborated with the Catholic Church, and you come in.
Because Catholic churches, if we're being serious, are gorgeous
course.
establishments.
Beautiful.
Like I'd like
It'd be
to sit in there
beautiful
for a minute.
restaurant or a bar.
Yeah. Pogue Fados or whatever they want to call it. But as far as like the stuff that's happening, that's the stuff I don't really want to deal with. But for movie tickets, are we kidding?
I feel like as religion, fades, a lot of these churches will become cool cafes.
Yeah, some of them have
And
already.
Some of them have, and like apartments, right? I think.
Yeah,
So
sometimes.
turning churches into apartments.
Yeah.
I think doing shows in churches feels cool.
I've done a couple. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like
Usually the ceilings are too high.
way
for
too
comedy.
high. People are in pews. You're also in front of like the Lord.
Yeah.
I would perform with Jesus as a backdrop. I think that's a good backdrop. One day someone will put like the Christ Comedy Club just on his outstretched arms like this.
I bet you that's already a thing. I don't know that it is, but I bet you somewhere
Every
that is
time
a
you
thing.
try to name a comedy thing and has the word comedy in it, someone's done it somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like porn.
It's exactly. I was going to say, if you walk past the bestiality section, that's what. It was Christ's Comedy Club right there.
And what does your mom do for work? How's she doing now?
My mom's doing okay. My mom works with a dude who is quadriplegic.
Wow.
Oh, like helping him with stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And do you? I don't know if this is too personal. Do you send money to your mom, or is she fine?
No. I have like at some point in time. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I would,
Sure.
but no.
Let me ask: when you go out with your parents for dinner, do you pay for the meal?
Depends. Not on an everyday thing, but like sometimes it's probably like if it break down percentage wise, probably 30-70.
Sure.
Yeah. But
That
I try
last
to
year
do
was
like
the first where I said with all my younger siblings, I was like, okay, it's time for me to pick up all the meals for all my younger siblings, and I felt good.
yeah.
What, you have an older brother?
I bought a meal for you before. Give me your candy. I have a younger brother.
Russ is like, I'd buy an appetizer for you. I go, thanks. You have a younger brother.
I have a younger brother. Yeah.
What does he do?
Right now, I think he's just chilling. He was a security guard for a while, and then after the pandemic, they fucking laid off the entire goddamn building.
Oh wow.
Oh God.
Yeah, but he's still Nova Scotia, kicking life in the dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you miss Nova Scotia? Do you like Nova Scotia?
I do. Yeah, every
Yeah.
time I see a seagull, I think about it.
What is it like? I don't really know anything.
Did you see the movie Banshee of Inisherin?
Yes.
I've seen the trailer.
Inisherin?
I'm dying to see it.
It's not like that, but it's a little like that. But it's not like that. It's a
Yeah.
city and stuff. But I watched that movie and I was like, oh, I get all of this. The spite, the seagulls, the fucking... I really like
Is
that
it a
movie.
small community? No,
No, Halifax is like a 700,000 fucking person city. But just like Nova Scotia in general... Celtic deals,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, the closest thing to Halifax is Boston. The first time I went to Boston, I go, oh, this is the same place. Cobblestone Street, college town. People have weird accents, drinking, fucking clam chowder. We got all that.
Yeah.
You worked at some point in fast food, right?
I did.
You have a lot of great fast
This
food
gets
bits.
into this is a very serious portion of the podcast.
Yeah.
A second ago, we are talking about sucking a dog's dick, and then it's like he crossed his leg to go. So you worked in I did work in. I worked at A&W in Canada. The best job I ever
Is
had.
that a Canadian chain? Because I don't know.
It's like a root
A&W.
beer, right?
It
Kind
is a
of.
Canadian chain. I think it started in Winnipeg, but there is some of them here, mostly closer to the border.
I see.
A&W is awesome. I worked at the one in Bayers Lake. This is solely for any single human being that, if anybody listening to this is from Halifax, they'll be like, I know that place. Because I get real stupid about that. The end. You guys saw World War Z?
No, I've not seen it.
No, but I know that's a Brad Pitt one, right?
It's Brad Pitt. So, long story short, they fight zombies, blah, blah, blah. In this movie, the only safe place on Earth is Nova Scotia because it's a peninsula. So at the end of the movie, Brad Pitt goes to Nova Scotia, and I was in the theater. I hated that movie.
Is it because it's a peninsula, or is it because there was a good tax break there for filming movies, so that became where they needed the movie to end?
Well, they didn't. Sure.
But
This isn't in the movie. That would be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the movie purposes, because you can just block the highway, and then there's no way to get from anywhere else.
Yeah.
Anyways, Brad Pitt at the end goes to Nova Scotia, and I was like, fuck yeah. I was just jacked to hear Nova Scotia in Brad Pitt. Sorry.
Oh, no, I saw.
A&W, I worked there when I was 16. And the reason I started working there, actually, I had just quit my job pushing carts across the street at the Atlantic Superstore, which years later I ended up buying this coat from. But I started working there because there was these like agents that had come to town, and they did like a casting call. And I went, and I was like, Mom, I want to do this. She's like, it was like $800. I was like, I'm not fucking paying for that. This is fucking bullshit. She's 100% right. It was bullshit. It was
a lot of money.
And it was complete bullshit. But I didn't know that. I'm a child. I was like, so anyways, I started working at A&W solely to make $800 so that I could pay for this thing myself. But by the time I had been working there and everything, I met a lot of cool people. And I kind of realized that thing was bullshit. So I just kept working at A&W. And it was, first of all, I still love A&W to this day. And I loved working there.
What did you love about working there?
Dude, it was so fun. Like, it was just working with like...
Were you cooking? Were you doing the...
Yeah, I was in the back.
Yeah.
But it was just like the people we were working with. It was fucking awesome. Me and this guy, Kyle, on Saturdays, C100, the radio station, would have Saturday Night Fever. So from 7 to 12, they would just play disco. I love disco. So me and my friend Kyle would be like, hey, can we go make onion rings in the back? And we would just make onion rings while blaring disco. It kicked ass.
Yeah.
Like, it was just... And it was also like, you're young enough that all the money you get is like, you can... I mean, look at this. I got $400.
Yeah.
It's not... It's not accounted for at all. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're just like, I have $400.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm working with people that I really like. I mean, I loved that fucking job.
Yeah.
Today it would be rough, like going back in and be like,
How much do you love
I have
it?
$400. But I could go in there right now. I'll make a Papa Burger today. Starbucks too. I could make like basically any of the fucking.
There's the generic Canadians being more polite, but like, was it fun because the customers? I feel like working fast food in America has got to be rough.
Sure.
Depending on where you are.
Depending on where you are, I guess. But it must have been. I mean, if it was a
Oh, it would be horrible.
that McDonald's that used to be
New York City.
on not McDougal but Bleecker, not even Bleecker. What's that fucking street? It's closed now. But anyways, the McDonald's in the West
The
Village.
one in the West Village.
Holy.
That famous one. It's famous for being
a
rough.
haunted house.
Yeah,
where
in the
people-
West Village.
It was right
it was by
beside
the Comedy Cellar.
It was right
kind
by
of.
the Fat Black. The big that big abandoned building now that has boarded up. That was
yeah.
that was a 2-floor McDonald's. And every night, man, you could just see brawls in there. There was videos of people getting like somebody got beat to death in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So in the city, Times Square McDonald's?
No.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it was
there
great.
was one. I
No,
used their
no, there
bathroom
is-
a couple.
no,
Oh yeah.
totally.
yeah.
I'm saying
no,
working
can
there.
you
Oh,
imagine
working. Oh my
there?
God.
You know?
Sure.
Miserable. But no, working at that place, people would snap sometimes when it was really busy, but mostly it was just like, yeah. I worked at night too, so it was less busy. I worked from like 5 to 10 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So it was less busy at night. We'd also just take chicken. They made like a whole bunch of chicken, and what they would do, you'd make the chicken, you'd deep fry the chicken, then you put it in a fridge, and you set it for an hour. Not a fridge, like a little tray burner, whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. You set it for an hour, and once the timer goes off, they were like, throw that chicken out. And we'd be like, this is perfectly good chicken. Yeah. It's been sitting here for an hour. And we put it in a bucket, sneak it out. And then me and like friends and shit would just eat chicken, walking home, throwing bones. I mean, it kicked ass. The job really kicked it kicked ass.
You get free food. That's great.
Well, we stole that food. They didn't want us to do that, but we took it.
I worked at an ice cream store when I'm in high school, and it was connected. It was the same building as a Subway. And there was a Subway on one side, and they were owned by the same person. So it was an ice cream store. And we, as the ice cream store employees, were allowed to eat as much ice cream as we wanted. And the Subway employees were allowed to eat free Subway. But we weren't allowed to have the other one, even though they're owned by the same thing. But of course, we would make deals with each other, and you're making things for the other person. But they were really strict about it, and they'd get really mad if they caught you like eating Subway. Even
How
though
would you secretly do it?
Well, there was most of the time you don't have a person there. Most of the time you're on your own. The
So you just
owner's
do it.
not there.
Yeah.
But if they saw the wrappers, you'd have to like kind of like hide it and do that thing.
I think it's funny because like you need Subway more than they need ice cream. If we're talking about like survival in society, they definitely have the upper hand. They're like, give us a gallon for a pickle.
Yeah.
You're like, I need
But I love
something.
that job. It just was like again, small town, so not that many people coming in. It's not like that stressful. You're
That's like
making
a
ice
great
cream.
lesson in trade. I feel like you all could have gone into.
Well, there's a reason that Kevin Spacey in American Beauty goes work at a fast food place again. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
His life is shit. It's falling apart. He's hating his job. His wife's fucking around. He goes, I'm going to go back to when things were calm. I'm going to go get my job back at Mr. Frosty's or whatever that place was. Because it was just like, as a child, as an adult, obviously it's much different. You have bills and you have real things. But as a kid, all of the money is yours. And it's a party. Who gives a fuck? Fire me. I'll get another job.
Talk about something in that movie that I always bring up with Tova. I don't think she takes it seriously. But I say American Beauty, the moment where they're about to like have sex, like there's a moment, him and his wife, they're finally about to have sex again. They feel passionate. And she notices that the wine glass is about to spill on the rug. And I say to Tova all the time, I'm like, because Tova didn't come from money. And we both have and I think like our views on how much money we want in life is very different because of it. And I say to her, like, I know viscerally, truthfully, that the money doesn't buy the happiness in an emotional way of just like, be careful, because it seems like it's going to be the thing you want to keep obtaining. It's about the connection with people. And I say that moment, when I saw it at like whatever young age I saw American Beauty, way too young to understand all of it, I was like, that's the thing I never want in my life. I never want to have nice things to a degree where we're worried about the things.
Yeah. That seems great.
Nonetheless, I think that's
It's
exactly
just
where we're
a
going.
Couch. Movie's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you're more a fan of Kevin Spacey's social life than his movie work. But I almost did talk about.
Thank you for
Yeah.
just fully shut
Just
down.
like, yep. I am.
Speaking of weird acting things, I almost did that Kevin Spacey masterclass series like a year before he got busted. He was one of the first like masterclass teachers.
That wouldn't be weird if it's before you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guy's a fucking fantastic actor.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, so if
But
before
he keeps he's one of those, it's the same with like Harvey Weinstein, where it's like the 10th lawsuit has been settled from the 4 You're like, God damn, the numbers is insane.
yeah.
And it always seems like he's going to be working again on some weird European Turkish movie.
Yeah,
and then
he's
like
filming
10
them.
more things come out.
They just gave him an award.
He filmed something in Rome or
He
something
just got an
somewhere.
award.
Yeah, he
think
just got
so,
an
yeah.
award. No, seriously, he just got an award
That's
for
got to be
something.
a
like in
wild
Europe.
life to vacillate between getting guilty verdicts and awards.
Well,
You guys gotta really fuck your head up.
He wasn't found guilty in the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Oh,
The Anthony
the
Rapp
one
one.
thing they said it was two, but then he definitely recently had to pay like
But yeah.
some obscene
yes,
money.
Yes. I don't know why I had to be like, he actually wasn't. He actually got off in the.
I guess my joke before was more accurate than we care to
I'm
acknowledge.
just saying that what I've heard lately. That's the only thing I had heard lately.
I apologize for bringing up American Beauty, but
Yeah.
it was just that whole thing of talking about him going back to that restaurant. There's a real reason for that. Because when I saw
it's
it
like
too,
that Bill Cosby bit that let's go. What were we
hilarious.
saying?
When I saw it at the time, I didn't really get it either. But then as an adult, when you got to pay tax and all this kind of shit, you go, yeah, fuck, man. Working at A&W, just making food and laugh with people was pretty fucking great. And I thought it was great at the time, but then you really think about it and you just go, yeah, it was pretty awesome.
yeah.
I look back again. This is very privileged. I never had a really regular.
I was going to
daytime
ask
job.
you what your first job was.
I'm glad I waited.
Horse, petter.
Horse brusher.
Yeah, brusher. I couldn't think of the word
Horse
brush.
petter is like even fancier.
Equestrian.
Horses are very interesting because my dad he is into horses. But horse.
You can only give me $1,000.
But horses.
My dad would give me a whole fucking stallion.
But there's some people who do horses that are quite impoverished. It's such a mix of like people with no money and they just have a horse and a TV from the 60s and then like uber rich people.
You talking about farmers?
No, horses. I'm talking about horses.
But you know what are they doing with a horse? Because maybe they're getting a horse to try to look like your dad.
think the overhead of horses can be so high that like some people could like.
You grew up with horses?
Listen.
I take back what I said. You know, at the beginning, I was like, I don't hate rich people. This is disgusting. You grew up with a horse. Did you have horses?
Multiple horses.
But like my hero.
Did you have horses? Just
people.
answer this real quick. Did you have horses?
My dad had one horse. But let me just.
What was the horse's name?
Let me just say something about
What's
my dad.
What's the horse's name?
His first horse. was Ernie. Ernie died.
Multiple horses.
well, he's an animal. We all die.
Why Ernie, by the way?
I'd have to ask my dad. My dad, I've always my thing with people who love horses. There's a kind of adult that loves horses because it's the only mammal bigger than them who doesn't judge them for their past sins. Horses have some fucked up people like my father. Like there's people who like horses because it's like it's a sign of wealth, and then there's people who love horses because they need a big fucking mammal that they can hug and feel love back from that mammal, and the mammal doesn't go like, well, you're a narcissist, well, you're a monster. And that's why my dad likes horses. My stepfather is the lawyer. My dad is the kind of guy who's had wealth and then has vacillated, big vacillation. So he's had horses as a wealthy man, and he's had a horse where he kept it like in the backyard because he didn't have money, but he kept that horse going because it meant so much to him.
How many horses?
Currently, I don't know if he has a horse right now.
Wait, you have to look at stables. Yes, 3 horses.
But where were we talking about horses? Because I was a horse petter. Oh,
if I ever hear you on stage being like, guys, the subway's crazy, talk about the horses.
I do need to do a horse bit. I feel glad that I did wait tables in high school. I was a singing waiter, and I did another restaurant
At the Peach Pit?
it was in DC. It was called it used to be called
I was fucking around. The Peach Pit's a thing from
what is that?
I think it's from 90210.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was called
I'm sorry. I really tried to throw a thing in there. I thought we'd get a polite laugh. I fucked up. I apologize. Go ahead.
it was called Mimi's, and then it was called Stars. And I was glad I did that again. I had the privilege, but working in as a singing waiter, you get to feel what it's like to be deeply disrespected.
Sure.
And that's good. But I remember when I moved to New York, I was very lonely. I just didn't know anyone. And I had friends who were like, get a job. This is how you make friends. This is how you connect to the world. And then I look back and I'm like, if I could go back, I would say that to myself now too. And I didn't. I was just trying to pursue being an actor, all these things.
So that was your first job?
My first job was I was waiting tables at both of these places.
How old were you?
16. And I'm so glad you look back. It wasn't fun. I like the singing waiter because I like to sing.
No, that seems tough. I'm not fucking around. Being
but I like
singing waiter seems
But being
rough.
a comedian's tough. You work,
but I'm not serving the food too. That's
Sure.
the
frustration is when they got annoyed. Like, where have you been? Our water, and you're like, I was singing.
Yeah, I was singing.
It's performance.
Circle of Life right over there. I was on a waffle.
And I think it wasn't like the what is it called here?
Stardust.
Ellen Stardust, yeah.
I mean, those people are paid a lot of money. They're doing well. It's fun. This was like you're paid poorly. No one's dreams were to be here. And there was the older people who really still wanted to have that shot in the professional singing world, and you're like, that's not going to happen. So it was a sad place. But that was the job I did. But I did catering once in a while, but never consistently. So now you're rolling in it. You have money now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go buy a horse.
Do you
after
still
this.
think you have a scarcity mindset, as they say?
Sure, but I'm not rolling in it either.
I know you're not rolling in it, but you're doing fine.
I can pay my bills. I can buy my pink coats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much was that coat?
85 Canadian dollars.
Really?
I bought it with a bag of ketchup chips. I just like it.
Yeah, it's a great coat.
I remember when I went to Canada and I sold my merch for $20, and I wasn't gonna factor in the exchange rate. But
Totally.
then when I finished, I was like, oh, I made a lot less off this merch
Yeah.
What is it now? What's the Canadian dollar to the American dollar?
I don't know. It's around like probably 70 something. I don't fucking know. Goes up, it goes down. When I first moved here, the Canadian dollar was $1.04, so I made money moving to America.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
That's nice.
But now it's not that at all. I think it's like 78, 79.
It's such an exciting feeling to go somewhere and your money suddenly means more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't know where you can do that now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on to our next segment. This has got to stop.
This has got to stop.
What was that segment called? The one we just did?
That was
The whole podcast.
This is called The Downside.
the downside. And then we get to 10.
This has got to stop. We like to, is there something, can be particular, can be grand, needs to stop, bothers you, annoys you on a daily basis? I have one if you want me to go first. Yeah. One thing I want to stop, whenever something good happens, let's say like when I did Corden, and people go, how do you feel? I hate it. It ruins whatever I'm feeling for me. My whole life, I work to be more just be in the moment. And when someone asks me, how do I feel? Suddenly I feel like I don't feel what they're looking for. I don't feel enough of it. I have to now put on some kind of feeling in a way that they can understand, rather than I can be excited and be not smiling. And so I think asking people, just going like congrats. But when someone says, how do you feel? To me, it opens up. That's what my therapist is supposed to ask me. How do you feel? It opens up just a whole world of like, well, how do I feel? Well, I still am scared of dying, even though this good thing happened. So I think that as a response, as needs to go away, because it fucks up certain kind of people. Any thoughts, Rusty? You want to?
I'm thinking.
Sure. How do you feel about that?
I think I know. I feel like I know who you are talking about. They say that a lot.
Oh, it's multiple people. This is not one of my specific. I hope they're listening.
No, I think I can see where you're coming from on that. I think congrats is easier and a quicker thing because you're not looking for self-reflection in that moment. But I don't know if I have a strong feeling on it.
Just sometimes people will say, it's also when people go like, dude, you're killing it. Because there's a feeling of like, oh, you're asking for me to have a specific thank you. I don't, things where you are kind of requiring someone to give you a specific emotion back, or they go, what, you're not? Mm-hmm. What, you don't feel good? Mm-hmm. You should feel great. Mm-hmm. It's something about that exchange of like asking someone to give you a specific emotional reaction back.
So my thing is, I'll respond to this and then I'll go into my own thing. This just kind of reminds me, comedians, we should be executed. We're just like awful. People are, most people are like just regular human beings, and what you did is like maybe exciting to them. So they're just trying to have a conversation, and then we're always like, "Oh God, yeah, but why do you gotta ask it like that? Can't you just say, man? I just bought milk." Do you know what I mean? Like my life is, I just bought milk.
Sure.
Can I talk to you about this thing? And now you're telling me to go fuck myself, comedian?
But I'm not telling them to go fuck themselves.
I'm not saying you personally.
I feel, it feels so, I'm doing the social contract.
I get you. But I'm saying comedians should be executed. My thing is, it's got to stop. Cigars in comedy. I hate it. I hate every single thing about it. People sucking on sticks.
Do they? I didn't know that's a thing.
I hate it.
Well, it's a very specific.
I hate the fuck out of it. I hate it. I hate it.
People are smoking cigars while they perform?
No. But on podcasts and stuff, people are sitting around eating cigars, talking about fucking barefoot board short fighters. I just can't I hate it. If we're not warlords, we're not fucking dictators. We're not stomping through. You know what I mean? I hate it. I hate it. There's no aristocrats. There's no fucking. It's disgraceful, and I hate it because if any other group of let's say actors, if there was actors every week sitting on podcasts eating sticks, talking about, man, you see that barefoot guy fight that other barefoot guy, puff puff, ring. Comedians would murder these people. Yeah. Murder them. Make fun of all of them.
Sure.
But when it's comedians doing it, no, we're cool. We're hip. We're Arnold. I hate it. I hate it. Get
You're
cigars.
talking you're talking like a Joe Rogan
I'm
type
talking
culture.
many things. I'm talking get cigars out of comedy.
But you don't like cigars.
Get it out.
Where are cigars okay? Where do you not see people with cigars?
Your dad riding his horse.
Yeah.
Suck on all the cigars you want, pal. Just about every other facet of society. Get the fuck. You work for BP Oil. You just drilled into a brand new, war-torn country. Smoke a cigar. Do you know what I mean?
So it needs to be accompanied by a bad teeth.
Yeah.
What about at a wedding? The guys go off, they smoke a cigar. I'm not pro cigar. I don't care. I don't like cigars. So I have
Depends
no
on
horse
who-
in this race, unlike my father.
It depends on who's getting married and what the situation is. But I'm against cigars, kind of, but then cigars in comedy. I'm against cigars in comedy.
Yeah.
I'm against cigars in comedy.
I say
George Burns.
Get him out of here.
No, that's it. Stops there. That's it. To me.
cigarettes. Are you a fan?
Oh, I love 4 or 5 at a time.
Would you do it on stage if you could?
comedians, I don't smoke, but I mean, if comedians were sitting around eating cigarettes,
chain smoking.
yeah, just that's more of a comedian thing.
Yeah.
Cigarettes, like a pigeon.
Yes.
So it's something
Yeah,
about
there's a putting on airsness to cigars. Yeah.
It's like if
I
a
agree.
comedian started wearing crowns, you'd go, "You're not conquerors."
Yeah.
Like the cigar to
yes.
you, it entails some degree of like power or some degree of you did a big thing.
You think you're somebody. It's a putting on airs thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I just picture rolling through Vietnam in a tank, being like, look what we did here, boys. Napalmed a whole fucking... Cigars aren't for comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Ron White, too. Great. Works for him. That makes all the sense in the world.
See,
Yeah.
there's always exceptions.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course there is. But I'm talking about, he's wearing a suit. He's wearing a
wearing a
suit.
suit and he has a
he's
drink.
drinking fucking bourbon on
Yes.
stage. This is
Yeah.
who he is.
He came into the podcast studio smoking a cigar already.
Great.
He didn't
Yes.
sit down
Yeah,
and go
it's
like,
not-
"Are we going to do
He's
the
not wearing
cigars today?"
this T-shirt. What is that? A
Yeah.
seal or a dog?
That's
Pokemon?
Pikachu.
Shit, man. See this, right? And this is fine. But I'm saying this is the type of thing that somebody would wear and then smoke a cigar. If you smoke,
like it's
look, man,
natural, like it's part of their life
If
and
you
routine.
smoke a cigar wearing a graphic tee, you don't look sophisticated. You look like you leave your children in the car. It's not cool. I hate it. This is me though. I'm just, you know what I mean? This is me. I get it. Everybody loves UFC and cigar. I can't fucking take it anymore.
Maybe it's a having a dad thing.
Maybe, man. Maybe if my dad had stuck around and just, I'm gonna get a Cuban for my toddler.
All right, let's go to our last segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessings. Something specific we are thankful for. Russell, you got a blessing?
Yeah, there was an older woman today on the way here. She stopped me. She saw me in the show, and she stopped me and gave me a very nice compliment. And
What'd she say? Just like, I loved it.
well, she like stopped me. I had headphones on, and she'd seen it back in October, but I was just in the understudy then. Like, so she was just like, oh, we were she gave a specific compliment, being that she was disappointed that she wasn't seeing the real person, and then she really loved me in the thing. It was a favorite part of the show.
That's
It was a
nice.
nice compliment. It was it was nice to be like stopped and get a compliment on the way here. I was like, fuck, it's early. I'm on the way here, but it was a nice thing. So thank you to that woman walking her dog.
I've grown numb to stuff like that, but I
I
remember
know it
in the
doesn't happen
beginning.
to me very often, so it was a nice thing.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
My blessing, other than the wealth that I was born into,
It's
I
a
lose
great name for a horse, by the way. Blessings.
blessings.
Yes.
The horse.
I lose things a lot. I misplace things a lot, and I got the most recent iPhone case I have like beeps like loud, and man, oh man, does it make my life better.
You push a button. How do you? How do you know?
go on your phone. You go find my blank, and find my headphone case.
Oh,
and like the old one had a beep, but it was like
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare. This one, you know right where it is, and it saved hours of my life.
Wow.
I want everything: phone, keys, glasses. If I could,
Yeah.
So that's my blessing. It's a good feature.
Nice.
That's not bad. I mean, now that we've been talking, I want to say my blessing is that I got to go through Metal Gear Solid at the time that I got to go through it. What a beautiful time. I'm not kidding. Me and my brother at the time we took our Super Nintendo to GameStop. No, not GameStop. What's that place called?
Babbage's?
No, it was specific to, it wasn't a chain. It was in our neighborhood.
I see.
Anyways, we took it down there and sold a system with like 3 games solely for Metal Gear Solid. That 2-disc little fucking thing.
Yeah.
We got some chips, man. We put that thing in there, and dude, Metal Gear Solid is still one of the greatest things that's ever it was so great to go through.
Well, you talked about so basically there's this boss that can read your mind essentially. So it seems like you're unable to beat them. And the thing that you have to figure out is you move your controller from port 1 to port 2. Which is something you would never do in any game ever. And there's a degree where as things become more digital, you're like, man, sometimes things that are physical, you feel like the fact that you had to physically do something in the real world, it was so cool. I remember Super Nintendo, the way you'd there was something called a Game Shark. Yeah. And you'd like put the game in the Game Shark, and it felt like a piece of an illegal something, and it was so cool.
Yeah.
And now it's like you'd enter a code, and you just don't feel that excitement anymore.
Totally. I always buy hard copy games. Like, I don't want to just download things,
Yes.
But also, did you ever play, real quick, and I apologize, did you ever play Metal Gear Solid 3?
I did. That was the last one I played.
Okay, do you remember the guy?
You're a big boss the whole game. It's the one that's
No.
outdoors.
It's outdoors. You're not, are you?
You are a big boss. I think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's like takes place back in whatever.
Yeah,
yes. So, do you remember the end? The guy named the End, the sniper?
Remind me.
So there's a guy in this game. He's a very, very old man. He's a sniper. Every time you move, he shoots you. And the way you can kill him easily is before you even go into the game, you go into the system. You put the years up like 50 or 100. When you go back in the game, he's dead. Oh. He's dead. Because he waited, you know what I mean? He died of old age. I am so happy that I went through those type of video games at the time that I would have been able to do them.
Yeah.
I love the times that I played video games. I skipped so much school, dude.
One system, what are you going to have if you could only have one video game system?
I literally just rebought a PlayStation 3.
Really?
So I could go through Grand Theft Auto 4 because I skipped it at the time. And
Grand
it's the
Theft
best.
Auto, that's one of those games when the new one comes out where I'm like, what if I...
Grand Theft Auto 4 is amazing. I can't even believe I didn't like it at the time. It's the best. I don't know, PlayStation 2, 3.
You should do voiceover for one of the Grand Theft
I would
games.
kill somebody. I would kill somebody. I would kill somebody to do that.
actually will.
I would literally murder a human person.
You would do Grand Theft Auto in real life.
I'll pick up a hooker, pay her $50, get blown, and then murder her down by the docks to then do the voice of the guy that does that in the game. I would kill somebody. That would be the greatest fucking thing ever. I would call my brother and go, you can't even believe I'm in a fucking... Dude, that would blow my dick through my own ass. And that would be amazing.
My friend just had to audition, but you're welcome to do all those things too.
Yeah.
All right, this episode's coming out February 7th. Anything you want to plug, Russell?
Instagram, Russell at Russell J. Daniels, and come see Titanic at the Del Roth Theater.
So February 7th, this is coming out. Anything you'd like to plug?
I'll be in Indianapolis February 14th at Helium. Also, Money Never Wakes, comedy special on YouTube. Please check it out. It's there. Watch it.
It's very good. I will be in Charlotte Comedy Zone tomorrow, February 8th. Asheville, February 9th. Bristol, Tennessee, 10th and the 11th. And I will be in Vancouver, February 16th for JFL Vancouver. It's just one show. Would love to sell it out. It's a very big theater. So please come to that. If you're listening, Canadians listening for Nathan, please come on out. And and just as a quick side note, fuck you, Roku.
Fuck you, Roku.
Fuck you, Roku. I now have 2 broken televisions in my apartment.
The second one's on you, man. The second one null and voids the first one.
That you deserve that.
Yeah.
You should
Roku-
hang it up as a reminder of who you are. As
You
a
know what's
person.
crazy?
We text that to Tova later. You deserve that second TV. Because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting all the weight of it.
Who is in charge of it though? Who is in charge of ordering these from the beginning? Okay.
Go text Tova.
Okay.
Go
You know
text
what?
Tova. Go text your manager.
You know what
and
makes
say,
me laugh about it real quick is that Roku made 2 TVs, and they were like, nobody's ever going to buy these. And they go, you're never going to believe this. The same guy bought both.
This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.